Now coming to our hero, that is Butterfingers. It's a journey that started in 2010 and it is steadily going in 2023. We had a comic version. So you have, this is one character, like, Bernard Shaw used to say some characters run away with the author. Is Amar a character like that? How much is he special for you? He's very special for all of us. We have been growing with him. I was already a grown-up when I started reading Butterfingers, but even now, if you read some pages from the book, you cannot control your laughter. It is such a nice collection of work, that a universe that you have created, the world of Butterfingers. So tell me something about your favorite character.
Thank you for your nice words. I'm very glad that, yeah. My favorite characters in the Butterfingers, Butterfingers, of course, is very special to me because my first story that I wrote at all was Butterfingers. I mean, other than in college and so on, I mean, officially, seriously writing a story was Butterfingers. And after that, Butterfingers as a character was always in my head. So when Tinkle wanted me to create a regular character, I brought Butterfingers back. So that was his second innings. Then the third innings was when I approached Penguin with these short stories, and then they asked me to write a novel. And that is when and for Tinkle, I changed the name of the real name of Butterfingers, which in the first story was Mukesh, to my son's name, Amar. Because my son never allowed me to use his name in any story. He said, no, he just wouldn't allow. But when this happened, I asked him, shall I use your name? And I think, like most children, don't listen to when their parents are telling them something. He nodded his head. I don't know what that nod meant. I took it to mean yes, and I made the change to Amar. And my editor liked it very much, Luis Fernandez. He said, this is nice and snappy. Mukesh is rather old-fashioned. I hope there are no Mukeshes here. Mukesh is an old-fashioned name. Let's have some nice, snappy name, and that's how Butterfingers. So, and therefore, not because my son is a Butterfingers, I think I may be more Butterfingered than my son, but somehow it's very special for me. I love the character. For me, it's easy to write a Butterfingers story because as I said, he is constantly living in my head. But among the other characters, I like Mr. Jagmohan, the principal. I like Kishore, because Kishore is, I created this character, Kishore, with high reading skills. A boy who even reads Shakespeare. You can't have an 8th standard boy reading Shakespeare, but I made him that kind of a boy deliberately so that through Kishore I can channelize my love for literature. Otherwise, I can't really make these kids speak the way Kishore does. And I really enjoy, and Kishore isn't much liked by the others in the sense he irritates them because he's constantly correcting them. If they say, it is me, he'll say, no, it is I, to be grammatically correct. So that is Kishore all the time showcasing his learning. But I don't make him that irritating, but then when the children typically shut him up. When he starts saying, they'll say, shut up, keep quiet, that kind of thing. Because I can fit into that class. I feel I live there. So that is one. All of them I like, Kaikasi. I like Jagmohan because he is tearing his hair all the time, and now he's bald, I think, in the latest book. Yeah.
Now, two things that make all Khyru ma'am's books special. So one is her intense love for language, because she's also a language teacher. It's been a great fortune to be her student, because whenever she was teaching in the class, we will marvel at the kind of words that she uses, the idiomatic expressions that she uses, and also the humor, which I think many teachers forget the fact that every class is partially infotainment. You need to have information plus entertainment. Her class is a full package. So when we were students, when the bell rings, we used to curse the bell because we want the class to go on and on. And when
I taught also, right? It was not all entertainment.
No, of course, she taught us so brilliantly that we still remember all the lines. So that humor was actually recreated in all her books, and humor is an integral part. Plus, language is a very special thing about her books, her language, and also the words that he uses. Also, you use a lot of geographical information. There is so much of GK. It's almost like it's a PSC textbook, because she gives a lot of information about so many things. So apart from the fact that, all her books are well crafted, well put up, you have all the loose ends being tied at the end of it. Plus, these are things that attracts all of us because we are also language teachers. So, how do you manage to incorporate all your pet loves into a book?
I try to do it in a very natural way. If you notice, I don't think it sticks out exactly, right? Because after I write the book, I ask my husband to read and my son to read. My husband always says, very nice, and that's the end of it. My son would, of course, tell me some extra stuff, like if it is a cricket match, he will tell me, you have placed the fielder in the wrong position. From there, he can't take a catch if it is hit in this manner. I say, thank you very much, because I know that children are waiting to find mistakes. So that is how it is. So I really take a lot of care and trouble to do that. But I want to do it in a natural way. And also, I have been a quiz master. You have participated in my quizzes. So quizzing, general knowledge, these kind of things, I somehow want to introduce in a very natural way in my books. So yeah, that is I really don't know how I do it, but then I have created these characters and I create situations where we can, these nuggets of information can be introduced to children. So I do that not only in Butterfinger's books, but in Lizard of Oz. In all the other stories, in the other collections also, there is this, the couch potato who said, ouch, and other funny stories. It is, there also you find a lot of...
crocodile also.
Yeah, crocodile. There is Baby and Dub Dub. Baby and Dub Dub is about dogs. I had to do so much research on dogs. And then at the end of it, my husband was bitten by a mad dog. I mean, there's no relationship between the two, but it happened. So...
You've been attending a lot of events, children's festivals, literary festivals and all that. So can you please share with us, your 2 or more unforgettable incidents that you have? Something which stands out.
Something which stands out. Well, there are lots of incidents like that, but 2...
I remember you once telling me that, you had a young fan of yours telling that, we don't want this character to die when Colonel Nadkarni dies.
Colonel Nadkarni, yeah. When Colonel Nadkarni, he's in the first book, House at Butterfingers, and Colonel Nadkarni is the owner of the playground, where the school doesn't have a playground, and he has said that in his will he has given it to the school, don't worry. And he dies. So after he dies, they can't find the will, which means they're going to lose the playground. And therefore, the rest of the story is about how they're trying to win the match and trying to find the will. But one day I got a letter from a boy saying, I'm in class 7, I'm in St. Thomas School, I was reading your book in the library, and then I came across, I saw that Colonel Nadkarni is dead. I put my head down and I cried for 10 minutes. I said, my goodness, why did you kill Colonel Nadkarni? I said, I didn't kill Colonel Nadkarni, I wanted him dead for my story. So I sent him off to London, I made him die a peaceful death in his sleep and so on. But after that I decided I won't kill anybody, not even a mosquito. So that is how I have decided, because I don't want to hurt children. I didn't realize that they will take it so much to heart. But about other things that have happened, I was recently, some months back, invited to inaugurate the All Kerala Congress of Obstetrics and Gynecology. So that really took me aback when I was invited. I said, what do I have to do with obstetrics and gynecology?
What speech did you give there?
No, I'll tell you when they invited me, the lady who was in charge, I told her, look, for me, my only connection is that one, I'm a woman and I have a child. Other than that, I don't know anything about this. She says, that is why we are calling you. We don't want somebody who knows and who will talk shop. We want someone, we are calling you because you're a writer and you're a writer of humor. We want a humorous speech. As an inaugural speech. So for me, that was very special, that I should be there at a conference where I thought I'll be sticking out like a sore thumb. What am I doing in such a place? So that is something unusual that happened. Otherwise, you get invited for literary events and college day school. Those are different, but this conference to be invited. Another one which is even better is that when Greenfield Stadium was built and they were having a sports camp inaugurated, they had invited me to inaugurate it along with, I think, Dr. Alexander Jacob and one or two others were there. So that was okay because I write sports-based books, they called me. But what they wanted to do as part of the inauguration was what I liked very much. They wanted me to kick a football. So I was so pleased. I can, in public, this is the way we are inaugurating, kick a football. Of course, first I stubbed my toe. Then I kicked the football, which looks so easy when Maradona, Messi and all of them play. It's just so quick and so easy. Here I realize it's just not moving, the ball. But that was very nice because I have always wanted to, in your imagination, you think of yourself as a cricket player who is hitting any number of sixes like Surya Kumar Yadav and so on. When I was small, these were the things I'm wanting to play because you're not playing, you're not doing anything. So all this is in your imagination. So when this actually happened, I was very thrilled.
Now, nowadays we hear that children are not reading. There is so much of importance given to cartoons. Even the Marvel has actually taken up this role of creating awareness among children by like you said, gender sensitization, inclusivity, and all by incorporating all that in their cartoons because children are too hooked up with their devices. So in this scenario, you've been visiting a lot of schools all across India. You have young readers who come to you, and we have seen the pictures of you standing in the middle, and you are getting mobbed by them literally because they all love you. So what is the response that you get about reading in general from young children, and what is the response to your books?
The thing is, when I'm invited to these schools and you're invited to book clubs and so on, it is generally readers that I'm meeting. See, I'm not meeting people who don't read. So the response is always good. I'm not going to a place where people don't read at all and where I'm trying to get them to read and so on. Sometimes in general you say that, but even then I realize that there are lots of children still reading because everybody knows how important it is to read. Everybody knows how important it is to read actual books. The tactile thing is very important. Plus the fact that reading is a very sedate activity, whereas the device and gadgets only make you more distracted. That's what research has proved. You become superficial learners, shallow thinkers, nothing going for people who are devoted to the screen. But if you read the page, if you read books, your imagination gets to be better, your deep learning is better, your long-term memory gets strengthened. So there are so many things going, but you must read for fun. And all these things happen automatically. Your language improves, the innumerable advantages. So now there is actually a fear because of the result of research that you may not really, we may not have children who are well adjusted. We may have children who are very superficial. We may have children who don't fit in the real world because they are always living in a virtual world. They are into social media all the time. Their friends are all virtual friends. They don't know to socialize. That's why you have this lovely book by Jonathan Haidt called The Anxious Generation, where he says Generation Z. That is from children born from 1995 onwards. They belong, he's given them a name. They are the anxious generation. Always anxious, no social skills, all the time depressed, worried because they want so many likes. So it's a very dangerous situation. Because older people are getting conscious of that, they're trying to get children to read. Unfortunately, older people are also not reading. Older people are sitting and looking into devices all the time. I came here by train. I was the only one who was looking out of the window. Everyone else was looking into their gadgets. And Kerala is so beautiful. It's so green, so lovely, so many lakes, so many trees and the clouds. It was such a beautiful journey and nobody was enjoying it. Everyone is looking into their devices. Nobody is even reading a book. They're only looking into their phones. I felt so sad. I felt very depressed. Then I looked outside and I felt better. I have no point being depressed because this is how the world is. And that is why, on the one hand, there's this consciousness that children must be brought back to reading, and children do love reading. Readers, once a reader, always a reader. So once you get them introduced, catch them young and watch them read and let them read. That's how it should be. So once you do that, it takes some effort, but a child should be in a house full of books. Parents should read. Parents shouldn't look into the phone and tell the child to read. Why would the child read? But if the parent reads and doesn't even tell the child to read, the child will pick up the book anyway, because children are basically very, very imitative. And they adore their parents. Whatever the parents do, they will try to do. So when my experience with children outside has always been good, because they all are already fans of Butterfingers or my books. So when they come already knowing and liking the books. So there are 7 people who told me, 7 children who told me, I'm still counting, after 7 from last year, it hasn't improved. They told me that they started reading books after reading my book. So for me, that is the greatest reward I could ever get, that I have converted 7 children into readers who never read, who hated reading, but somehow they read one book and they enjoyed it. They went to another book, then they went to another book, and they got hooked on to reading. So that is wonderful. Maybe 7 is a small number, but for me, that 7 is like 7 million.
Now, let me tell something about her humor again, because when I was translating her book House at Butterfingers, one of the things that I felt really difficult was to translate all this humor. Just like we talk about the untranslatability of Bashir, so something which is similar happens in her stories also, because that humor works better or best in English. So let us hear a bit from her tongue-in-cheek, The Funny Side of Life, which is one of the well-loved, well-accepted books that she has written. So let us hear.
You want me to read from there? This is Tongue-in-Cheek, The Funny Side of Life, which is my first book for adults. Adults means there is no adult content, all right? I remember how a friend of mine, when he knew that I had written a book for adults, he called, "Hey, I heard you've written a book for adults. Tell me, which are those pages?" I said, "I'm so sorry. There are no such pages. You'll have to go to 50 Shades of Grey for that." So this is about food and Kerala weddings. This is it's titled Food for Thought. It is about how we love to eat at weddings. So here is, I'm not going to read everything. Kerala weddings have always been known for their brevity, but the austerity that used to be associated with them is gone. Everyone is invited to witness the extravaganza. The hall is huge, the decorations ostentatious, event management has seen to that. The bride is covered with gold, flowers and silk in the order of visibility, while the groom looks self-conscious and uncomfortable in an Indian costume. He's not wearing dhoti and shirt, but something else. He need not be, for the guests have come with their priorities firmly in place. The bride, the groom, and the ceremony are mere trappings. The feast is the thing. The beating of the drums and the nadaswaram rising to a crescendo signal the tying of the thali around the bride's neck. It signals something else for the guests. Time to make a dash for the dining hall. The most coveted seats in the wedding auditorium are those nearest the doors to the gastronomical heaven, and many canny guests take strategic positions there. You know how we find places which are very close to the dining hall, already half out of their seats in their eagerness to sprint at the right moment. Before you know what's happening, almost all the guests rush out as if the fire alarm had been sounded. And then begins the jostling, the pushing, and the shoving. The wedding feast is a great leveler. Class, caste, and gender distinctions are ignored while good manners are thrown to the winds in this mad rush to sit reverentially before the banana leaf. The well-heeled rub silk-covered shoulders with a down at heel. Men ungallantly push women aside, while women, not to be outdone, return the compliment. All for the cause of equality, of course. Children cheerfully bring down old grandmothers. Students think nothing of aiming well-directed elbows into whomever stands in their way, and all seems to be fair in the love for food and the war to reach it. Those with the swiftest feet and the quickest reflexes manage to gain entry, and the doors close, leaving high, dry, and hungry a huge group that is left ruining its lack of initiative. So that is a little bit about how we eat.
Now you know why we all love Khairu ma'am and her books alike. She's such a darling. That's the reason. In Malayalam we say that, she's a chakkara. So that is why. Just imagine being taught by her. It's such a privilege. Whatever I feel so blessed to be her student, because only the ones who, I always say there is only two categories of people who have been taught by Khairu ma'am and those who have not been taught by Khairu ma'am. And I'm so happy that I fall in the other category. And thank you.
Thank you, Kaikasi, for those overwhelming, those overwhelming words and praise. And to return the compliment, you should also have students like her. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Poorna, for having ma'am here. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you so much.